Hello, you guys. This is Galatius and Latius, and today is the ending day of romantic holiday. So what I'm gonna do is read the stories for you. I was going to do this without voice, which is why there's two exclamation. But later I decided, you know what? I'm gonna read it for you guys. I'm like, why not, right? It's okay. A week ago, because I was lazy and I had a bad day yesterday, and I'm like, no, I'm going to give myself a good day today. Let's see. A week ago, I prepared Victor a gift for Double Seventh, also known as the Chinese Valentine's Day. I didn't know if he would be free, but it's just a few hours after work. He wouldn't refuse, right? Be that as it may, just in case, I gave Victor a call the day before.
What is it?
Office hours were long over, but Victor still answered the phone in under a second, and his tone was all business as usual. Guess and win a prize. What day is it tomorrow?
I'm hanging up.
Fuck you. I still love you. No, wait. This will only take a few minutes. As soon as I said it, I felt a moment's hesitation, but I still decided to go through with it. After all, this double seventh gift wasn't easy to get. Would you mind playing along and guessing? There really is a prize.
Friday.
I'll give you one more chance. That is, have another guess. What was I saying? Giving Victor an ultimatum was a surefire way to get hung up on. But to my surprise, Victor actually stayed on the line. I could hear him flipping through a calendar at the other end.
It's a day you're supposed to come to LFG.
Uh-oh. Huh? Didn't I just deliver a report on Monday?
Yes, this time it isn't for a report.
Ooh. His voice was as cold as ever, and his words hit me like a bombshell. I forgot why I'd even called. Then...
There's a new project. The other party wants to collaborate with your company, and their representative happens to be coming to LFG tomorrow.
Ah, I see. This sounded like a great opportunity for the company, but thinking of the murder mystery event I'd already booked for us, I couldn't help feeling a bit crushed.
The meeting will end around 3 p.m. Don't be late.
Don't be late. Okay, got it. You can't always have your cake and eat it too. You gotta put the company first. Lake Road was lined with little stalls. What was normally a traditional little street had been transformed into a double seventh night market. A tanagram puzzle, I don't know what that is. Sounds fun. A familiar puzzle game with its little shapes on display in one stall brought back memories of my childhood. I knew lots of ways to piece them together into a square when I was a kid. I thought I was going to show off to Victor, but with one sentence, he snuffed out my budding glow of pride.
You're supposed to make lots of different shapes out of the tangram pieces.
Interesting. Huh?
Like that.
Like that. Victor pointed to one kid at the stall, piecing the shapes together into the form of a fish. But I always thought that was how you played. Aw. Victor gave me something look and picked up the display board from the stall. In a few moments, the scattered shapes took the form of a colorful little dog in his hands. That's cute. Wow, so you can play this? So you can play it this way too. Awesome. I never thought Victor would be such an expert at a child's plaything like this. Can you make any other patterns? This time, the colorful dog was rearranged into a number. Is this a 7? I looked up at Victor and found myself staring into his half-smiling eyes, with a clear smile on his lips. Several hours previous. The talks about the project collaboration were finally concluded. After seeing off our future partner, I breathed a long sigh of relief. Victor also stood up from his chair and started gathering up the documents on the desk.
Today we're taking off early and going somewhere together.
Yeah, this rest is the new, because actually the phone got cut off in the middle, and that's when I decided to read it for you guys. So all of this is new right now. That's all I've done. Any other story, you'll see there's exclamations, meaning I haven't read it. My head was still preoccupied with the negotiations, and his words took a moment to sink in. Huh? Then I looked up, and I was staring right into his smiling eyes. That smile, then, could it be? Victor's smile widened as he watched a shifting swirl of emotions play across the girl's face. His slender finger fell on the 7, just pieced together, as he said intently and gracefully,
Happy double seventh.
Thank you. Let's see. Seeing all the sales and promotions aimed at the couples on the street, it really did make Double Seven seem like a Chinese version of Valentine's Day. Interesting. As I was thinking that, suddenly, hi, a young man had suddenly appeared from out of nowhere and was kneeling before me. Before I knew what was going on, he pulled a rose from thin air like a magician, handing it to me. Lovely lady, please accept this rose. And if you bring a friend, there's a couple's discount. Uh-oh. It was a white rose wrapped in a flower with the word salon clearly printed on it. I'd never seen this advertising tactic before. I shifted subtly from shock to pleasant surprise. Look, this shop is pretty clever. That was really creative. I held the rose up to Victor clearly, trying to show off as I did.
Yes, quite something.
Just then, my stomach suddenly let out a rumble.
Wait here for me.
Oh, is he going to get his food? Without so much as blinking at my potentially embarrassing little outburst, Victor strode off to a particular... If you hear a noise, that's the heat just came on. I requested for the heat to be on. Not for today right now, though, for yesterday. Just haven't changed it. To a particularly nearby stall. Moments later... Eat. What's this? What's this? Opening the paper bag, I saw several round little pastries. Ooh, yummy.
Recommended by the owner.
Ooh, I tentatively took a bite in one of the little pastries. A sweet tasting filling along with the scent of fresh flowers. This was a flower cake. So delicious.
Take your time. No one's gonna take them from you.
He casually brushed a crumb from the corner of my mouth with his fingertip. In the moonlight, Victor's eyes seemed tinged with a hint of laughter. As my mouth was stuffed with pastry, I had no way to respond to his teasing.
Compared to that inedible rose, this seems to suit you better.
Oh, Victor. As we walked on, my feet felt heavier and heavier. Spotting a bench on the sidewalk, I immediately dragged Victor over it. Victor sat to my right. Maybe it was the moonlight, but it seemed usually easy going today. He seemed interesting. Yeah, I see what she's getting at. From getting off work early to him taking me here to enjoy the holiday. As I looked at his angular profile, I remembered the guessing game we played one time and suddenly had an idea. I grabbed onto Victor's left arm with both hands. Give me your hand. Victor raised an eyebrow, but he didn't turn down my strange request and allowed me to put his left hand onto mine. Victor's hand dwarfed my own. As I traced the crisscrossing lines of his palm, my heart surged with warmth.
What are you staring at now?
You. Nothing. This time I draw and you guess. This may tickle, but no peeking, huh? Victor gave me a non-comical look. Before he could call me dummy, I hastily added, and no calling me childish either.
Why bother when you've done it for me?
Oh, damn you. Ignoring Victor's taunting, I drew my riddle on his palm, 2 halves of a circle, sandwiching a single line in between. Hold on. Another one, so it doesn't hit the... Okay, it's not hitting the bag. Okay, or not hitting, but blowing on the bag, the heat. When I drawn on the 4th set of semicircles, Victor's ring finger twitched a bit. Ticklish? Just hang in there a bit longer. As he watched the girl intent on her drawing, Victor seemed to feel the prickle of warmth from his palm spread across his whole body. Her riddle wasn't hard to guess. He could even guess what had made her suddenly think of it. By the time she was drawing her 6th hamburger, Victor couldn't hold back a smile. It was a double 7th, but with her own flair. As the 7th hamburger was about to be completed, this time, with 2 lines in between, the paper suddenly folded over on that little pen.
Had enough rest? Let's go.
Okay. Victor cut short his all-too-easy guessing game, took the girl by the hand, and stood up. Huh? But you haven't guessed.
Dummy.
As he said that, the look in Victor's eye was uncommonly tender. Aw. It was getting late. The people had started gathering at the central square at the street's end. Is there some kind of event? Let's go check it out too. Victor didn't answer. He just furrowed his brow and tightened my grip on his hand. Just then, a boom suddenly sounded on the horizon. The next instant, colorful fireworks bloomed across the pitch-dark sky. There was a fireworks show. No wonder everyone's walking over there. I stood on my tiptoes a little, disheartened by the throng of people in front of us. If we went now, we definitely would be able to get a good spot. And where Victor and I were standing now, we were mostly blocked by buildings, preventing us from getting a full view. The central square is pretty much the only place we'd be able to see it.
Not necessarily.
Really? Where else? Victor suddenly took my hand and strode off in the opposite direction of the crowd. We crossed an alley to another alley. Compared to the bustling street back there, The ordinary one almost looked desolate. Here, I looked around, not seeing any signs of fireworks. The skyscrapers were even denser than the previous street. I really couldn't imagine how we were going to see any fireworks here.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Just as Victor said that, the sound of the fireworks exploding again came from the distance. The next moment, I saw countless reflections of fireworks light up the glass facades, the skyscrapers. The building with the most beautiful, most complete reflection was the LFG building. Among the kaleidoscope of colors were a series of smiley face fireworks blossoming on the glass. Look at those fireworks. Before I've gotten the words out, the moment ground to a halt. Time seemed frozen, and the world suddenly silent. I'm pretty sure he used his time powers. Was suddenly silent. My eyes were filled with the reflection of Victor, whose eyes in turn were consumed by the fireworks. The golden burst of smiley faces burned extra bright in the dark depths of his eyes. Aww. Thinking back on that double seventh holiday, it still felt a bit unreal to me. From a contrived invitation to the night-long murder mystery to that kiss at the end. Wait, they kissed? They did? I couldn't help but flip through the pictures on my phone. The bustling street, the old-fashioned street stalls, the sky blooming with fireworks, and so many different sides of Victor. Victor eating flour pastries, Victor looking up at fireworks, Victor playing with a tangram, and Victor dressed in traditional clothes, looking so unlike his usual self. I couldn't help smiling, so much so that eventually I drew the attention of the subject of those pictures.
What are you grinning about this time?
We happened to be at a red light, and Victor turned his head to me. I hastily pressed my phone to my chest so he couldn't see my screen. Screen? It's a secret.
Dummy. No secrets allowed here.
Okay. Maybe it was Victor's tone or the fact I was already used to his calling me a dummy, but I just pouted and handed my phone over. Just so you know, it's already backed up, and there's no use deleting anything. Victor gave me an amused look and glanced over the screen. His reaction was subdued than I was expecting.
What's so funny?
It's just, I never thought in all my years that I'd see you wearing traditional clothes. Yeah, I'd see. Definitely, I agree with her on this.
You're making a big deal out of nothing.
Shut up, Victor. No, it's not. It really is a big deal. It is. And not just the clothes. I would never even dream that past Victor would play this game with me. Watching Victor as he drove intently, I had a sudden impulse and blurted out, "Let's spend double seventh together every year, doing a bunch of stuff, okay?" I regretted saying it immediately. Must have been the dazzling moonlight that caused me to say, "It's not dark outside." They should have changed it to dark, right? Caused me to say such a lunatic thing. Little did I expect.
The first half.
The first half. What? Nani?
I like the first half of what you said.
Oh, okay. Did Victor mean the thrill of joy quickly supplanted my initial shock? Okay. Victor's words exploded in my heart, just like the fireworks that night. Then they dissolved into a honey sweeter than the flour pastries coating my whole heart. This year, the next, the one after that, we'd be together every double seventh from now on. Perhaps we'd spend them in different ways with new surprises each time, but no matter what, as long as it was with him, it would be the most wonderful double seventh ever. Oh, that's cute. That's really cute. Now this... I think I just wasted an unread. Alright, so I'm going to do these in order. The next one I'm going to read is my second favorite, which is Lucian. Wait, why is that on exclamation? I don't remember clicking on that. Okay, I guess all the first are like that. Okay. Today was the day Lucian was... Or did I do that? Maybe I did. Was coming back to the country. I had been waiting in arrivals until late evening, seeing his flight get delayed again and again. Maybe there was a problem with the flight. Not true. No. He'll definitely come back safe and sound. The clock was pointing at 12, and the crowd before me had thinned to a trickle. I fought off the urge to sleep and tried to keep my eyes open and fixed on the terminal exit. Suddenly, a towering man wearing a long coat emerged from the gate. I stood up excitedly, only to find out it wasn't him. He must be waiting on his luggage. Yeah, that's definitely it. I returned dejectedly to my seat. When I stopped short by a familiar scent behind me.
Why do I seem to recall a certain someone promising to wait patiently at home for me?
Well, now, that voice I so longed to hear hit my ears, and I whirled around, throwing myself into his arms. Lysian, why was your flight delayed so long? Oh,
The weather was not cooperating over there. We were waiting to take off for ages.
uh-huh. But I've been watching the exit this whole time. How did you slip past me?
There are other exits here, and not that many people.
Oh, I see. And also, why... He held his index finger to my lips, cutting off my question.
You can ask me all the questions and receive all the answers you want on the road. Right now, shouldn't you answer my question first? Why did you come here to get me all by yourself?
Stop asking. I was worried you'd be lonesome going back all by yourself. As I got to the end, I was starting to sound a little silly even to myself, and sure enough, I heard his chuckle come from overhead.
That's an interesting answer, but not quite sufficient.
Oh, as he looked at me smilingly and awaited my next reason, I couldn't help blushing. Plus, I didn't want to wait to see you. Is that a good enough reason? As I said that, his grip around my arms grew tighter and tighter.
Is that the reason?
Uh-huh. His tone was a bit domineering, of course. But as he brushed some strands from my hair and my face and lifted my cheek, his eyes were nothing but affection.
There's one more important thing. I should have told you right away.
Oh? A warm breath caressed my ear as he said this timely holiday greeting.
Happy double seventh.
I definitely have to Google this stuff. Definitely, because Americans will really not know this. And I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but yes. I mean, is this Chinese? Chinese Valentine's Day? This is definitely something I'd have to Google for sure. Oh my god, I wish I could afford Victor's card, but I cannot afford every single SSR event. I'm just hoping that then I don't know. Although they hadn't seen him in a while. Did my screen just... Was it like that the whole time? Huh? Hey, I didn't click on that. Although they hadn't seen him, I guess me clicking on the screen, that must have counted as going next. Although they hadn't seen him in a while, the children were excited as ever to see Lysian. Several of his little fangirls. Lysian, I'm a little fangirl, but I love you. But Eris, do you know who that is? I have a double. Oh no, I still love you. Several of his little fangirls surrounded him, pulling on his sleeves and chattering incense and... Mr. Lysian, where did you go this time? Mr. Lysian, do you like the new clothes I'm wearing today? Mr. Lysian, damn, he's popular even with the little children, with the girls. I guess he's popular with all the ladies. 5-year-old, mommy, he looks sexy. Oh, man. Ooh. As the other children were about to burst with excitement, a little boy rushed over and grabbed me by my hand. Without waiting for me to react, he pulled me through the crowd in front of Lysian. If you keep chatting with Annie and those other girls, I'm going to make off with your girlfriend. Oh, man. He had a loud voice and drew the attention of everybody present. I was too embarrassed to speak. All I could do was look to Lysian for help.
How about we ask Miss what she thinks first?
Miss Angie, me?
Let's see which one of us she would choose.
Uh-oh. His eyes twinkled with laughter as he chucked the ball back in my court, looking on expectantly, not expecting this development at all. I was once again too embarrassed to react. As I was hesitating, the boy pulled on my hand and stood on his tiptoes to whisper something to me. I hastily squatted down as he cupped his hand over his mouth and leaned up to my ear. Miss Angie, really, I just wanted to give Mr. Lysian a scare, that's all. I'll give you a stash of candy if you just play along, okay? His pleading tone melted my heart. Plus, seeing Lysian's playful smile, I wanted to tease him back, too. I've decided I choose... And then the girl named Annie suddenly led away the boy next to me, looking none too happy. I thought you said you'd only hold hands with me. Liar! I was just seeing that the children had brought an end to the situation. I breathed a sigh of relief. To my side, Lysian was still smiling away, making me think perhaps I'd miscalculated the situation. Finally, I couldn't resist and tiptoed up to Lucian's ear. Are you curious about which choice I was going to make? I don't know if she whispered, maybe not. Lucian looked casually over me, his narrowed eyes full of mischief, as he could see right through my little ploy.
My certainty has won out over my curiosity.
Of course. Typical Lucian, yeah. I started sulking and went to move away from him, but he suddenly got my arm. Ooh.
But I'd still rather hear it straight from your mouth.
Okay. White, soft balls of dough had the children immediately captivated and bouncing with excitement. I was going to say, are they making pizza? No. Next, Lacey and I will pass out little dough balls to everyone. Y'all can let your imagination short. Make any shape that you want. No. After passing it to kids, I took a little piece of dough, too, and started netting it in my hand. What shape should I make? Doesn't Lucian has a representation of butterflies? So maybe a butterfly? I snuck a look at Lucian in the other end of the table, unable to resist wondering, since he was usually so straight-laced, what he would make of a project like this. Despite being diligently absorbed in forming his dough, he seemed to sense... Huh? Oh... Oh my god, he seemed to sense my gaze and stop working. Dude, I thought it said, he seemed to sense my gaze and his cock started to work or something like that. I'm like, they just meant cock his head at me. I'm like, whoa, they actually went that far? Or the text went that far? I'm sorry, but he seemed to sense my gaze and stopped. I really thought I said stopped and his cock was okay.
Yes? Need help with something?
Oh my lord. Sorry, Lucian. No, sweetie. You don't have to be. I know what you were thinking. You can have my every day. You can have my dick every day. Okay. We went rated R there. Who cares? I think you could give me a little spoiler about what you're making.
But if I tell you now,
Oops.
I feel that will take the fun out of it, and possibly limit your own imagination.
Maybe a dough of her?
There are some things that you can only do for yourself.
Oh. Something only I can do. Oh, I got it. Suddenly inspired, I split the dough into 2 pieces. I made one half into a fish and the other into a wing. After sticking them together, fish. Oh, I still had the feeling that it was missing something. Then Lucian, who at some point had walked over to me, picked up a little spoon, using it to press gills onto the fish's back.
This makes it more lifelike, no? Care to explain your inspiration for this creation?
Oh, if I do, promise you won't laugh at me?
Well, that depends on what you're going to say.
I mean, he is right. Then I won't tell.
I was only making a tiny little joke.
Aw.
Tell me, okay?
Under his gaze, it was useless trying to resist. I had no choice but to tell him my childish thought that I never told anyone else. Let's see. When I heard the double seventh myth as a kid, I always thought the Silver River was a real river of water. I didn't know it was the name of the Milky Way. And so, when I heard the part about the magpies forming a bridge across the river to help reunite the cowherd and the Weaver Maiden? Magpie? I was always worried. What if the poor magpies fell in the water? Would they drown? And so I would tell myself that the magpies were actually like this, able to both fly and swim. As I spoke, I fluttered my flat flying fish in front of his face like an awkward puppet show. A laugh instantly erupted from Lucian's face, and mine went red as I put the fish back on the table. It's stupid, I know.
Silly girl. You have some flour on your face.
Let me lick it off of you. He helped me wipe it off with his fingertip. He helped me lick it off with his sexy tongue. But the smile on his face didn't go away. My simple, modest flying fish was a surprising hit among the children. I showed him, I was going to say, why surprising? I'm pretty sure children will like this. Maybe she just thought it just wasn't good enough. I showed them how to make their own with the leftover dough, and Lucian helped them add skills with a spoon. In no time, in addition to the children's own imaginative creations, the tray was also full of little fish with varying sizes. Mr. Lucian, I'm going to cast a magic spell on these now. I'm sorry, I didn't read that right. Mr. Lucian and I are going to cast a magic spell on these now. Y'all wait here, okay? Okay. Unlike a lot of pastries, these cookies didn't take long to bake at all. delicious. Because I chuckled because it reminded me like a couple days ago we kept making cupcakes. So, I got, no, it wasn't flowers, like the cupcake. Wait, I said cupcake? I meant pancake mix. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Once the oven was preheated, I handed the trays of cookies over to Lucian.
Shall I set the timer to 10 minutes?
Yeah, I guess. Let's do 6. 6 minutes. I have a little... I know, I'm not reading her voice right either. I have a little secret weapon that I prepared. Secret weapon? As I said that, I took out a bowl of egg wash and proudly started to explain. This is a little trick I discovered doing some practice runs a few days ago. Halfway through, brushing this egg mixture on top makes them even tastier. Ooh.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll do it your way then.
Lucian patted my head approvingly, then turned and set the timer on the oven. As we watched the warm glow of the oven, a warm glow welled up. Okay, so warm glow was repeated twice in our hearts as well. Aw, I hope the kids like these 7 cookies. My worries turned into mutterings escaping from my mouth. Lucian gripped my hand, trying to boost my confidence.
I'm sure the cookies will hear your wish and turn out tastier than usual.
This was the first time I'd ever heard Lucian sound so whimsical. My nerves evaporated instantly. Then do you have anything you want to say to them too?
Let me think.
Well, as he looked intently at the little cookies baking in the oven, its orange glow tinted his hair and softened his features.
I guess, let the people that eat them become happier than usual too.
Oh, yeah. After the cookies came out of the oven, Lucian plucked out one of them and held it up to my mouth.
Here, taste it. But be careful, it's hot.
Okay. The enticing aroma compelled me, but I also didn't want to seem like a glutton in front of him. After a brief pause, I daintily opened my mouth and moved tentatively toward the piping hot cookie. I almost said coffee because that's what I thought it said. Hot cookie in Lucian's hand.
Could you open your mouth a little wider? I can't feed it to you like that.
Holy shit. You could so interpret this sexually, it's not even funny. Yeah, it is funny. Okay.
Say, ah.
God damn it, Lucian. He would do shit like this. A sweet sensation spread through my mouth. I couldn't help but eat the whole thing. Oh my god, am I just the one thinking really pervertedly right now?
How's it taste? Was your secret weapon effective?
Holy shit. Yes, it's delicious. You try one too. As I reached out for one, a serious problem suddenly occurred to me. Lucian, what do we do? Did I just eat one of the children's cookie by mistake? I had promised to let the children eat the ones they made themselves, but looking at the tray now, I couldn't even pick up my own cookie. Seeing my expression of hopelessness, Lucian plucked another cookie from the tray and put it in my hand.
Not to worry. The one you just ate was the one I made.
Oh.
And this one here is the one you made.
He spoke with certainty, such certainty, I couldn't find any reason not to believe him. I carefully examined the little baked cookie, the little baked cookie in my hand. It did indeed seem a little familiar. Lucian, this time it's your turn to have a taste. Oh, I can't do it. That's embarrassing. Imitating his tone just now, I held the cookie up into his... Okay. If this is Lucian, which he is, I bet she's going to grab her hand. Probably not, but if I wrote the script, I would have said, okay, but I grabbed her hand, and I licked it and ate it off of her hands. I told you what I tell you. I told you he was going to do exactly what I just said. With a smile, he grabbed my hand. He didn't just let her feed him. He grabbed it, my hand, and put the cookie in his mouth, getting even the crumbs on my fingertips. As I washed his throat, Adam's apples laid down, up and down. I could feel my cheeks go hot. How does it taste?
Great. Just the way I like it.
Sometime after 7:00, Lucian gave me some group selfies that we'd take with the kids. Oh, that's cute. In it, we looked like a group of time travelers, our traditional clothing clashing with the building in the background, with everyone holding up peace signs. Oh, my eyes are closed in a lot of them. I looked with some regret at myself in the photos, but Lucian gestured for me to keep looking.
The selfies leave a little something to be desired, But there are a few toward the end that I think I did a good job on.
Oh, haha. I didn't know Professor Leeson could be so boastful. What's that mean, boastful? I laughed as I flipped through the stack of photos, mostly pictures of me with the kids. Me making cookies with them, teaching them calligraphy, me chasing them, seeing them all captured like screenshots. I couldn't help feel nostalgia for everything that happened that day. Not just the things in the photos, but everything that happened next to the stream with the slowness patterns too. At the time, I worried that I wished I made. Oh, hold on. I worried that the wish I made to the river god, Kami, wouldn't reach his ear, but now it was clear to me that my wish had come true. Perhaps noticing that my hand stopped, he rested his hand on my head and patted it gently.
What is it? Not satisfied with the pictures?
Well, no, they're beautiful. But if I had to nitpick, I guess there is one thing I'm not satisfied with.
Oh? Mind telling me what it is? Next time I'll know what to improve upon.
Of course. As I looked at the earnest expression, I pointed at all the pictures besides our group photos. In all these photos, there's no you. Oh. Oh, really? I want to have a photo together with you as a souvenir of these happy moments we had together. Afraid that my request sounded too childish. No, it wasn't. I was too embarrassed to look at his reaction, but he took my face in both his hands, gently brushing the corner of my mouth with his thumb.
That was my negligence.
Oh.
I promise you, from now on, whether it's Double Seventh or any other holiday, every day worth photographing and remembering will be spent with you.
Aw. That's so cute. Oh. No. I'm gonna go third favorite, which is Gavin. Gavin's card. Oh my god, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Gavin's card is the best out of them all. Especially Evolve. Oh well. I can't afford one, bro. I don't know. How much does it cost? Like 8,000? That's like... I don't even have double $50, do I? No, I don't. But I think I'd let... No, it's just too much, bro. Oh, wait. Let me actually do this now so I actually don't forget. Okay. In the blink of an eye, over half of the calendar has been torn off. I looked at the upcoming festival. Actually, give me a break. I need a small break. I really like the stories. It's just, I really fucking hate how, like, not even one SSR card. But then again, I guess they would have to make it fair because then they would have to make it. I don't know. I just wish they adopted the pricing of Love Nikki, because at least in a hell event, at least one, you might need about maybe 1,500 depending on what hell event it is, and you could at least get one. Here it's like they're all the same pricing, but I guess if they were not, no, they still could have made it a little cheaper, man. I mean, I really truly believe this game is so much more expensive and unfair than Love Nikki. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about the pavilion events on these here, because their pavilion events, holy shit. At least with Nikki's pavilion events, with one suit, maybe the worst 4K, but you still guaranteed it. It's like, yeah. All right. In the blink of an eye, over half of the calendar had been torn off. I looked at the upcoming festival with a feeling of anticipation. The traditional Double Seventh Festival would soon be upon us, also known as Chinese Valentine's Day, and this year was going to be a once-in-a-decade celebration. Preparations for the holiday began a month ago on the central thoroughfare of Loveland City. Word was that it was being redecorated to look like it did in ancient times. My eyes moved from the calendar to the number of my phone screen. I dialed it. The call was quickly picked up, and Gavin's voice came through from the other. I miss hearing his voice because I'm not playing Claude.
Hello?
Hello? Angie, why do you sound a little surprised?
You must have misheard. What is it? Whatever it is, just come out and say it.
It's just, Loveland City is holding a really big fair these few days. Ooh, my voice is giving out. I'm not surprised. Have you heard about it? Should have had a little more break. I could still do so. I don't know. Whew. Have you heard about it?
I have.
Oh. They say it's a really, 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 really rare. And they even made everything to look like ancient times. I've never been to an event like this before. Would you like to experience life in olden times?
If you want to go, I'll go with you.
Okay. Claude. Huh? You don't want to?
I do, as long as it's with you.
Of course.
Do I need to bring anything? This would be my first time going to something like this.
Oh, interesting. Huh? You don't need to bring anything. Really, the only thing is bring yourself. You have to You said it for me, thank you. You have to bring yourself, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll pick you up outside your place. See you tomorrow.
Why the Step in her house. Go in her bedroom. There was a tenderness in Gavin's cool tone, and even a touch of some other emotion. That was like music to my ears. Outside, the lush green grass was swaying in the breeze, and the gust of wind came through the window, stirring up everything around me. Setting foot on the decorated street, I instantly went into full-on sightseeing mode. The quaint traditional style of the street had even been extended to the shops themselves. Lots of little stalls had been set up along the road, and the hawkers were decked with traditional clothing, trying to attract customers. Wow, this is so neat. It feels like I'm in a dream back in ancient times.
Where do you want to go?
I heard that there is a big event today at Delicious. So delicious. Shall we go check it out? Gavin nodded, then casually took my hand, and off we went. My hand was completely engulfed in his. As I looked down at my hand, my face flushed red. After just that second of straight attention, he tightened his grip around my hand.
There's a lot of people today. Hold tight and don't let go.
Of course. Okay. I squeezed back on his hand, and the warmth flowed through my nerves to my heart, which felt like it was going to ignite. Today, Delicious was also decorated in ancient style. A dais was erected in front. What is a dais? In front of the building, with a big crowd around it. Thank you all for coming today. Right now, we begin today's grand event. As more and more people gathered around, Gavin's brow furrowed, releasing his hold on my hand. He put his arm around my shoulder, shielding me. His powerful arm was like a high wall, seemingly even cutting off the noise from the surrounding crowd. I leaned my head on his chest, hearing his heart beating away within. I raised my head and just happened to lock eyes with him.
Do you want to take part?
Yeah? Take part in what? Hearing my response, his eyebrows jumped up and his mouth curled in a handsome smile.
This event. The Lotus Hunt.
Oh. Lotus hunt? My brain ran a keyword for the term. I must have seemed totally out of it, because Gavin reached out and pinched my cheek.
What are you thinking about?
As I recall, they do this event every year. They say whoever finds a special lotus flower will get the biggest of blessings. I know it said blessings only, but I'm pretty sure sure no one's found it in 6 years running.
Want to go?
I nodded firmly, like a chicken pecking at its feet. Yes, and with you here, I bet we'll find it for sure. I spoke cautiously and stole a glance at Gavin's eyes. Gavin squeezed my hand and grinned.
Let's go then. We'll search while we shop.
Sure. Although we said we just reached around while shopping, we really ended up turning every place we went into inside out, looking for that mystery lotus. Gavin, do you think maybe this lotus doesn't exist, and that's why no one's found it in 6 years?
Patience.
Patience, milady. Is there anything different about that lotus?
It's a twin-headed lotus.
Oh. Is it still light purple?
Yes.
Okay. I took a hard gulp and pulled on Gavin's clothes. My eyes glued to the man-made mountain at the center of the lake. Gavin, I think I see it. In the great cave of the mountain, a speck of delicate purple was sticking out plaintively, as if waiting for someone who was now 6 years late. Oh. Gavin stood up straight and held his hand out to me.
We'll go together.
Of course we will. I placed my hand next to his, and he pulled me to his side. The next moment, we were riding on the wind. The wind stirred up the drooping willow branches, the reflections on the water seeming to stir up ripples. Gavin picked up the flower and handed it to me. Its purple hue seemed innocent and wonderful in the gentle light, perhaps because of the man in front of me, or because of his special flower. My head was swimming with emotion. I just knew, with you here, we were sure to find it.
Silly.
Little did I imagine, but not long after getting the flower, someone took notice. The young man that suddenly sprinted up to Gavin and me looked like he was practically begging us. Gavin frowned, but before he could say anything, I held him back and turned to ask the man, "Can I help you?" Could you give that lotus to me? Why? Huh? I made my girlfriend mad, and she said if I find this lotus that she won't break up with me. I've been looking all over. I gave Gavin a conflicted look, but his expression was unperturbed.
It's up to you.
Okay. Seeing the young man's pleading look, my heart sank, and I handed him the lotus. Here you go. Don't make your girlfriend mad again. Girls need a supportive, understanding partner. As I watched the man go away with the lotus, I started feeling a bit down again. Gavin took my hand and squeezed.
It's okay if we don't have the lotus.
Yeah.
If you're feeling down, I can be supportive and understanding too.
Aw. That's adorable. After giving away the lotus, Gavin and I ambled around hand in hand. Although I still felt a little down about it, under Gavin's encouragement, it only occupied the smallest place in my heart. After taking a few twists and turns, we came upon a storytelling venue. The place was simply furnished with people, along a few benches, all filled with people. Although it was a modest space, the storyteller's lively voice had it packed in no time. Storyteller's voice. Singing My Cares by the poet Ron G not only advanced the development of poetry, but also became the representative work of the period. Being sleepless at midnight, I rise to play the flute. The storyteller stroked his long beard, swaying his head drunkenly, as his voice transported me out of my funk from losing the lotus. Ron G had such genius. Too bad he was born in that era.
You like this stuff?
I guess he's real. I have to look him up then. Probably. I admired it, sure, but compared to his tortured artist, life, I prefer a rebel who never let his world bring him down. For instance, I snuck a glance at Gavin beside me, but then he held back the word that was on the tip of my tongue.
What?
What? Nothing. Gavin bent down, leaning closer to my ear.
Your face is red.
Oh. Before I could react, he had already taken hold of my hand. When I did finally stop to, I was sitting on a branch at the top of the tallest tree. The moon hung in the sky clear and bright, bathing everything in a delicate radiance. So beautiful. It's been a long time since we sat like this quietly, looking over Loveland City from on high. Gavin handed me a little jade-carved wine bottle, brilliantly polished and effectively exquisite.
It's osmanthus wine, made just like in ancient times.
Interesting. How come there's only one little sip? Instead of answering me, Gavin just lifted up another bottle in his hand, then clinked bottles with me.
Because you're only allowed to drink a little bit.
Ah, I see. Why?
Because when you get tipsy...
Oh. Oops. Gavin looked at me with a smile in his eye. Under the moonlight, his amber eyes shone even more handsomely. They seemed even more brilliant than the stars. He let out a laugh, then he pulled my bottled hand up, hooked his arm around mine, and drowned his bottle.
If you drink like this, one drink is all you need.
Rip. One drink, guys. After a locked arms toast, I found that everything before me started to look different. For example, that strange-looking tree in the distance looked just like that twin-headed lotus. Gavin, look at that tree. Doesn't it look like lotus? Interesting. Gavin followed my gaze, then paused a few seconds.
You still want that lotus, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, of course it would bother her. I shook my head. Relinquishing it for the sake of another love is perfectly fine with me. I wasn't sure if perhaps I'd said something wrong, but Gavin seemed to clam it up a bit. Calm? clam up a bit. I was about to reach out and smooth his pursed lips, but a feeling of weightlessness suddenly came over me. I could feel the wind rush past my ears, making my heart almost jump in my throat. I heard Gavin call out, and then the next second I had fallen to his embrace. I clung to his clothes as if it were my one and only lifeline. Gavin cradled me to the ground, anxiously inspecting me for any injuries.
Are you okay?
Yes. I shook my head. Gavin looked at me for a few seconds, then held me tight again. I cautiously held on to his waist. Don't worry. My voice was quiet and muffled further by his increasingly taut embrace.
Hold tight.
Hold tight. I nodded and did just that. He stirred up a gust of wind, pushing me into the air. Soon we stopped over another pond.
Look.
Ooh. I followed his gaze to see a pond full of lotuses, their pink leaves lying dormant in the night, not burning bright, only twinkling in the starlight. His arms grew tighter around me, as if he had some prized possession in his arms. His very gorgeous voice fell over my ear, along with a thin stream of his breath.
It doesn't have that lotus. But is this whole pond enough?
Aww. That's so cute. The night was like a thick black ink, profound and impenetrable. At some point, the crowd of fairgoers had dwindled, and the lantern lights, burned out one by one, through the stars above sparkled on. I pinned the gentleman's mask I just brought to Gavin's waist, with a satisfied smile on my face. Let's go. We returned to our little drinking spot in the treetop, where I looked down over the street, looking so picturesque under the cover of night. A cool evening breeze blew by, giving me a slight chill. After my involuntary shiver, Gavin instantly took my hands in his, suffusing me with his warmth. Gavin, thank you.
You don't need to thank me.
Wow, he's the only one that actually showed his clothing here. See, even with the long hair, I just cannot see it. I only see his short hair because I'm so used to seeing it like that. The moonlight fell gently upon his hair, stirring up his soft glow. Even the mask hanging at his waist seemed to shine. Gavin, can you give me that mask to me as a keepsake? Gavin lifted an eyebrow, then undid the mask and placed it in my hand.
Sure. If you want, we can buy the lot of them.
Oh, he has really long hair. Just one of these is enough. Also, the reason I wanted is because it belonged to you.
Oh?
Oh? Seeing the somewhat startled look on his face, I giggled as I drew closer to him and held the vigil we brought over his face. But what about you? Do you want to keep my veil? He blushed again. You don't want it?
I do.
Oh. He reached out to take my veil, but I yanked it back. I've changed my mind now. I took the mask and, using the veil, tied it securely to a tree branch.
You.
Shh. Now I don't have a veil, and you don't have a mask. I'm just Angie, and you're just Gavin. It's not your conviction or your looks or the way you treat me that makes me... It's because behind the mask, you're still Gavin. Aw. After plucking up my courage and saying that, my cheeks felt like they were on fire. There was a faint smile in his amber eyes, but it mostly drowned out by a look of sincerity. The next second, he had me in his arms and gently planted a kiss on top of my lips. My lips, okay? Yeah.
I'm just me, and you're just you.
Aww.
Let's spend double seventh together again next year, too.
Of course.
Just like right now. Being our most true selves.
That's nice. I don't know. He's the only one so far that we've seen his suit. The other two we didn't. That was surprising. So before I start with keto, I need a small break. Oops. So I'll be right back. It's not going to take long. Just a few minutes. Just like a bathroom break. So I can move to... I like these stories. I'm just surprised the others did not show their costume, though. Huh. I don't know. Okay, I'm back. So, wait, because this is easy to forget. Okay. Perfect. Ever since learning that Kato was shooting a period piece film, what? Couldn't they have just said a piece film? I don't know, that just sounded weird, like historical. Oh, that sounds good. Historical piece film. I have been brimming with curiosity, but no matter how I tried to ask, Kito's answer was always the same.
If you want to know, then come down to Studio City and visit the set this Friday.
Of course. Really? All right, then I'll think about it. I decided to keep Kito in suspense. Oh, this is the first time I think we've seen this background. On the day of Double Seventh, without telling Kito, I secretly entered the set. Okay, a set. Using the pass I had gotten from the crew beforehand. This was the biggest courtyard in Studio City. Looking through a latticed window, it's obscured by vines, I could just make out some figures bustily shooting a scene. I craned my neck, straining to try to pick out Kito's form from amongst the other actors. Not that one. Not that one either. Not what? Huh? The voice suddenly sounded behind me, made my heart skip a beat as my head spun around. Kito's face loomed large before me. Seeing how taken aback I was, I looked offended and let out a disappointed sigh. But, oh, I guess
What are you so scared of? Didn't you come here to see me after all?
they didn't voice that line.
I guess me and you aren't the world's bestest besties.
Bestest besties. How did you know I was
Because
here?
not a single clue you leave behind ever escapes my notice.
Of course. You wouldn't have. I looked suspiciously at Kito, and he hastily shook his head.
No. Actually, I just knew that you'd definitely come for a set visit.
Of course. Kito, who was wearing normal street clothes, beamed happily, and even that little bit of disappointment I felt quickly melted away. How did you know I was going to definitely come? How did you know I was definitely going to come?
Of course I knew. Because I knew you definitely felt the same way I feel.
Oh.
After all, this is the first Double Seventh that we've had the chance to spend together.
Aw. The main street of studios in Studio City was set up with a large row of stalls for the Double Seventh Evening themed event. Festival lanterns, folding fans, traditional cookies, candied fruits. Yum. A plethora of objects had my head turning every which way. Kito's pace also started to slow. Suddenly, the sweet, fragrant smell of pastries hit my nose.
That smell.
That smell. Kito and I both cried out simultaneously.
This way! This way!
This way! I want my candy! We entered a little shop on the street corner. Taped on the counter inside the words Double Seventh Limited Edition. Looking up, all I could see was a board on the wall with the names of pastries: Love Birds in Seventh Heaven, Delicate Dice of Red Bean, Instantaneous Simpatico. What are all these?
I have no idea.
Why are we whispering? Kito whispered this right next to my ear, his hot breath tickling me a little. I jumped back a step and rubbed on my reddened ear. I can't understand this either. The red bean one must be some kind of red bean paste, but what about the others?
Let's just pick one and try it.
Okay. Kito and I stood at the counter, pondering over the dozens of pastry names. A moment later...
Instantaneous Simpatico.
Simpatico, what? We said the words at basically the same time, making the shop owner laugh out loud. You two really are simpatico.
Yep, that's right.
I don't even know what that word means. As I watched Kito nodding in agreement, a wave of heat flushed uncontrollably up my face. Out came a flower-petal-shaped cake, dyed a little pink color, looking extremely appetizing. I picked up a petal, and as I chewed into it, the filling inside oozed into my mouth.
It's a lily.
It's lily. First, there was a faint bitter taste, followed by a refreshing sweetness that overtook the palate. It's delicious. Oishi. My eyes squinted in delight as Kito smiled happily across from me.
I like this flavor because it resembles you.
Aww. The packed crowd made for a magnificent sight, especially since they were all wearing traditional clothing. There seems to be something going on over there. Shall we go take a look?
It seems to be that traditional embroidered ball toss. You know, kind of like tossing the bouquet at a wedding, but in reverse.
How come Lucy and Victor don't have their clothing here? Well, okay, first of all, him turning like this, I can see him with this long hair instead of me just looking him first, and I see his short hair immediately. It blends in pretty well, actually. It seems to be that traditional embroidered ball toss, kinda. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, the woman tosses the ball down, and whoever catches it will marry her. My interest was instantly piqued, and I followed the crowd closer to the building, festooned with red silk ribbons. The person tossing the embroidered ball was a pretty young woman dressed in traditional red bridal dress. From the stir she caused below, it was clear everyone found her quite attractive. This is my first time seeing one of these in person. What'll I do if I catch an embroidered ball?
I think that's a question that I should be considering.
Kiro took hold of my hand. Locking our fingers together, the heat from his hand and the smile on his face warmed me to my heart.
It's a big crowd. We wouldn't want to get separated.
Yeah, that's true. As I was about to respond, my voice was drowned out by a sudden outburst from the crowd. Looking up at the sound, my vision was filled with the sight of a colorful ball with silk ribbons falling from on high. It grew closer and closer, finally landing Kito's arm as the whole crowd looked on. Uh-oh.
Gah!
Yeah. Oh no, if the word got out, it was Kito who caught that ball, then I knew what entertainment news headline would be by tomorrow. Oh, Kito caught the ball, he's gonna marry her. Before anyone could react, news spreads very fast, like fire. Quick as lightning, I snatched the ball from Kito like a hot potato.
Wait, what are you?
Hanji, holding back a laugh, Kito snatched the ball back from his hands, throwing it high up into the air as I looked on anxiously. Look, the ball is over there. As the ball fell back down, an uproar erupted from all over again.
Silly Miss Chips. That's all it took, see?
Now it seems like we're just here to stir up trouble. I stuck out my tongue and followed Kito as he swept away from the crowd. When the sounds of the crowd were far behind us, I finally asked him, what would you have done if you had been caught holding that ball?
If I'd been caught, it's just a game. And besides,
I
belong only to you.
Exactly. I had a feeling he was going to say something like that. Ooh, dark background. The sky had become completely dark, occasionally brushing shoulders with people dressed as emperors, generals, and country ladies. Gave one a wonderful sense of traveling through time. Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Wow, the koi fish here are so fat.
So fat. Following Kito's gaze, I saw 4 or 5 koi swimming in a pool cut from stone, most probably overfed by the tourists. I went closer. All I could think was how funny they looked awkwardly waddling through the
Careful.
water. Angie, kiyotsukete. Is it careful? Oh, I think so. Suddenly, Kito called out to me. I saw his shadow rush at me, hitting me right in the chest. Oof, I was pushed back several steps by the sudden force. When I looked down, the culprit was none other than the little white Neko. The Neko meowed, meow, daintily and looked up at me curiously with its big round eyes.
Are you okay?
Yeah, we are. I'm fine, but what is this cat doing here?
This is the film crew's cat. He's a real troublemaker. I don't know what this naughty little fellow is doing here.
Kito, aren't you a troublemaker too, or you give me that impression? As Kito explained, he reached out to shoo away the Neko from my arms, but the Neko nimbly dodged Kito's motion in my clutches, climbing playfully up on my shoulders. Don't move.
Naughty kitty! What are you doing?
Naughty kitty, she's mine. Kito wiped boldly, his fingertip grazing my collarbone as he did, sending a shiver down my spine. Wait a second. Meow, meow, meow.
Are you raising your voice to me? See if I ever share my food with you again.
That's so funny. Meow, Kito, go away, meow. Perhaps that threat just struck a nerve. The Neko stopped, staring at an angry Kito as if examining him. Exactly. I couldn't hold back my laughter any longer, drawing the 2 pairs of similar blue eyes onto me, one curious and one a little offended.
All right. Seeing as how you've made her happy, I guess I'll give you a pass.
They could have just said made her happy. Made me happy, Angie happy, yeah. Kito gave the kid Neko a hug and gently rubbed its head. Then he looked at me.
However, You laughing at me won't be so easily forgiven.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. I think your punishment shall be to go with me somewhere.
That's not punishment. A jade green pond, drooping willows, winding corridors, and leaves rustling in the breeze. The sultry summer air seemed exhaled from this patch of earth.
Nice here, isn't it?
Yeah. Kito turned to me, fishing for phrase, his unruly golden hair sticking up in a few places. It feels great, but how did you find this place? I lay shoulder to shoulder on the grass with Kito as the cool breeze blew by, cut off from the noisy world beyond the wall.
Take a guess.
Take a guess. You did a shoot here before?
Nope.
Nope.
Actually, it was because I got lost.
Yeah, I got lost. You can get lost in a courtyard.
You don't find all these narrow little paths super confusing?
Actually, yeah, I'd have to agree on that, yeah. To empathize how confusing they were, he made maze-like gestures with his hands.
In the end, I got reprimanded by Savin, but I still don't regret it one bit.
Yeah, I don't.
At the time, I just kept thinking, I'll definitely come back here with you sometime.
Aw. Kira looked at me, his expression seeming more tender than usual under the soft moonlight. Today has been so wonderful, and the Cenarian night is sure to be in the day. I looked up at the night sky full of glittering stars. Reaching out my hand, it was like I was bathed in starlight. Kira stretched out his hand too, and extended a finger at the sky.
In the summer sky, the brightest star is Vega, the Weaver Maiden. And that star on the other side of the Milky Way is Altair, the cowherd.
Interesting.
Legend says that these lovers are reunited every year on Double Seventh. But in reality, who knows how many light years lie between them?
Is this true? Again, this is definitely something for Google. Kito's clear voice wafted in the air, speaking of a distant fairy tale. That far? What if they get lost then?
They'd still be fine.
Kito's outstretched hand leaned on to the right, taking hold of my own hand, still suspending in the air. A soft glimmering of light fell on his profile, mellowing the smile on his lips.
I'll find you. I promise.
Aw, that's cute. The fireworks were just a few moments of brilliance, but the beauty was already locked in memory. I wanted to remember everything about this night with Kito forever. I didn't expect it to be over so soon. I kinda wish it wouldn't end. Watching as the crowd on the street thinned out, I couldn't help feeling a little downhearted.
But wasn't this the perfect ending to a perfect night?
Yeah, you're right. Excuse me. I looked over at Kito. The person important to me was by my side. Excuse me. I had nothing to regret.
Although, now that you mention it, there is one more thing we haven't done.
What is it? Giving us a kiss, I looked imploringly at Kito, and he didn't answer as he led me away by the hand. As the fireworks concluded, the crowd cleared from the riverside. The Magpie Bridge over the water reverted back to being just a plain stone bridge.
It's said that any couple that walks over this bridge will stay together for a long, long time.
Aw. People say that about every bridge, although perhaps this one is different. It was clearly just an ordinary stone bridge. No ornate carvings, no signs of being worn over time. But when imparted with a special significance, it became beautiful in itself. We walked to the crest of the bridge. The shimmering river underneath with its countless lotus patterns looked like a Milky Way brought to earth. Look at this. It's really beautiful. I turned around and my mind suddenly went blank. Kito was standing a few feet away, his eyes focused on me. The willows on the bank swayed with the breeze, blocking most of the dim lantern light, and casting a shadow on him that was molted, but not gloomy. I don't even know what that means. He looked at me with eyes that seemed full of stars, piercing straight into my heart.
What's the matter? Too beautiful for words?
Kito stepped forward, placing his warm palm over my two hands.
Now, it's perfect.
Aww. Oh, that was adorable. Oof. Okay, you know what? That's my knuckles. So book Sunning custom. Let's do these. After hearing of the Double Seventh custom involving airing out books in the sunshine, you... Maybe? I see you're a little fuzzy in the details, as usual. After the expected sarcasm, there's an invitation for this evening. Victor asks you to clear your schedule and have dinner with him so he can set you straight. Okay. You've come to handicrafts workshop. What should you sign up to learn? Maybe that. You give your embroidered handkerchief to Victor. A thankful Victor folds it carefully and puts it away with a glimmer of tenderness in his eye. That's cool. A girl selling flowers looks at you and Victor. Mister, buy a flower for the pretty lady? Victor takes the rose you handed him with a complex look on his face. Seconds later, he buys the rest of her roses and gives them to you as a return gift. For a double seventh holiday, you specifically wear a pair of new shoes for getting they haven't been broken in yet. Sure. Noticing, you subtly kick off your shoe and rotate your ankle. Victor lets out a sigh and says, "Wait here for me." He then comes out of a pharmacy with a bandage. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's what that is? Oh shit, I see. So yeah, you get a free lock ticket thing. Oh my god, I'm a moron. I looked at the 1,288 and I'm like, yo, that's a lot for an R card. I really wanted this. No, I can't. Let's see. So I have 4. Does it go by 4? $10? So 200. Since unfortunately I won't be able to afford the events at all, I'm just gonna go for the R cards, but I don't know exactly how much it costs, to be honest. 300 diamonds? Oh my god, that's too much, bro. I gotta do this 3 times. Oh, wait. As you walk, the two of you come upon a sugar painting stall in the wheel game. You decide to give it a spin. Eating it as you walk and accidentally get your hair stuck to it. Lucian helps you extricate the hair and then carefully pins it up for you in an attractive bun. In the summer, it's still scorching even by nightfall. Halfway down the street, you decide to beat the heat with a beverage. Perfect pair. You can't figure out what it tastes like. Seeing this puzzled look on your face, Lucian takes a sip and with faint earnestness says, "It tastes like a essence of you." A temple is holding the double seventh fortune drawing event. You want to try, but you're afraid your luck is too terrible. Ask Lucian, "Can you cast some luck on me?" Lucian puts his left hand on top of yours, too, and holds it tight. "How much do you need?" "How much do you need? Is this enough?" A little girl holding a basket of flowers clings to Lucian's leg. You decide to... Lucien lets you pick one, and you crouch down and struggle to decide, but he doesn't press you at all. He just stands to the side and laughs. Oh, it's not. You stop in front of the paper cutting handcraft stall. Transfixed by all the portrait cuttings done in such vivid detail, you decide to have the artisan cut out a single portrait. You hold up Lucien's portrait and have him turn it to the side so you can compare the two. He does so, but his gaze still remains onto you the whole time. You're playing a lantern riddle guessing game online with friends, but you can't figure it out. So you decide to, I'll turn to you for help. I mean, because 300 only buys me 100, and literally that's only 215. No, it's expensive to get the R cards, all of them. Help Gavin out, and you see a copy of. Gavin lets out a laugh and says, "For you, I'm all answers." At a distance, you see a guy holding a large banquet, flowers rushing towards you. You try to nimbly dodge to his side. You accidentally twist your ankle and end up tripping the guy in the flowers. Gavin scoops you up with a frown and gives a cold look at the man sprawled on the ground. To go with your new traditional outfit, you wear a new pair of shoes, which end up rubbing your feet raw. Of course. Don't wear these next time. Scoops you up in his arms. Oh, but I will, so you can scoop me up always. You pass by one quiet stall and realize that it's a stall for the traditional custom of seed planting. You decide to... red bean? The old lady running the stall helps you plant a red bean and says, "Next year, 7th, I'll bring it back. You two don't forget to come get it. You hear?" And... holy shit. Wait, how do I have 9 unread? I thought I read it all. Oh, because... okay. See a statue, you near it, you jump out of fright. I'm not going to read that. A display window decorated in beautiful antique style. I'm just trying to rush it, that's why. See a creative old-fashioned sleeping gown. You then, I don't know, open the door and buy one? The shop is full of couples. You pick a semi-transparent white gown, ignorant as to why Keto is blushing a bit. You're a bit thirsty, and you see that a shop has given ancient-sounding names to each of its drinks. You decide to try Elixir of Life. Actually, Essence of Past. This incredibly attractive-looking beverage makes you both scrunch up your faces with its sour taste. You feel like they really picked a good name. Yeah. You see a stall for the sprouting custom. Keto asks you what that is. You prepare to tell him, I don't know. After hearing you say that, the stall owner patiently explains. Okay. 1 point. Although you didn't know whether it was a wishing tree, since everyone else is making wishes, you say a wish to the tree. How boring. Of course he would say that. Why make a wish to a tree when you can make a wish to me? Hey, is he jealous of the fucking tree? This kind of person isn't front and center, but you do get a kick out of them. You look at the riddle before you and scratch your head. Yeah. Victor doesn't tell you the answer right away. He just gives you a hint. You fit this bill. While playing the murder mystery game, you picked first to talk... I don't know. That player takes offense and wants to argue back, but a cutting look from Victor at your side cows rip. As you browse your moments feed, you see a group posting lots of public displays of affection. Yeah. Your thumb gets tired from tapping and still no end in your feed in sight. The situation reminds you of the time that helped Victor respond to all those comments at Souvenir. This kind of person doesn't get it front and center, and you do get a kick out of them. You look at the riddle before you and scratch your head. Oh, it tells you challenge Victor. Victor lets out a completely unprovoked by your challenge and report. Whether I know the riddle or not, it's clear certain someone doesn't. God damn it, Victor. What kind of gift should you get Victor for the traditional holiday? What would he like? Maybe? When the packaging arrives, you received a fright. A fright? This little folding fan turns out to be a meter-long decorative fan. You'll have to ask Victor to come to your house to pick up his grand gift. Lots of stalls with traditional handicrafts set up the shop on the street for the double seventh. You pause in front of a paper cutting stall. Oh, a little dog. You give a dog to Victor and get this in return. Why isn't it a Shiba Inu next time? You respond in earnest. Next time it'll be. Oh, you like Shiba Inu dogs? Inu, which is the Japanese word for dogs too. For a double seventh day date with Victor, you specifically wear a pair of new shoes. Let's see what he says. No matter how your face remains the uncomfortable grimace on your face. Gives you away. Victor frowns and pulls you into a shoe store. You're almost at the real-life secret room place. Just one more flight of stairs, but they're pitch black. You hesitated to go forward. Make Victor go first. Let's do it. You're not scared of something coming up from behind you. Victor casually tosses out this remark, and in pitch dark, you get so scared, you jump forward and cling to his waist. That's so funny. Now, I think that is all for this event. Can you actually finish all of this when you go for the cards? I bet you can. The reason why I'm asking is because the format of this... You hear noise, I know. I believe the same format is like this of the Cape Event holiday, and I didn't finish it. I did for the art cards. Gosh, how much did that cost me? So I'm assuming you get to finish all of these if you go for the card. Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I want these cards. I mean, I could go for it, but obviously I would have to not spend money. No, is it 10,000? Oh my god, because if it's 8, it's a little doable. But it's like, I'm still scared of when they're going to bring the Shaw. I don't like that name at all. The Sean. I'm going to call him Sean. Yes, Sean event, because he has at least 2 cards. One SSR and one SR. It's like, I don't know what to do. Obviously, I cannot get a Galaxy coupon. So... which is more, in my opinion, I think it's going to be stamina. Emotion flower is not worth it because you just... Well, first of all, how many do I have? Yeah, it's just not worth it, man. And I already have a lot of bottles. In this case, gold is not worth it for me. In this case, the only thing that I could afford will be... Well, you got Karma Promise, but that's 300 for 12. I don't want that. It's stamina, honestly. But I have... Yeah, what are you talking about? Okay. By the way, I think it says it's exactly 288. I might have missed a day of this because if I did, that means I missed some magpies. Wow. Oh, I'm so sad. I can't get it. If only this event didn't come close to... Because I'm pretty sure we're not going to get what I call hell event of a hell event for a while of this. Maybe one SSSR, but... Meh. Who knows? I don't know, guys. So before I end the video, I'm just going to show you at least the free art card that I got. So what does he require to evolve? Lipstick. So let's see. You know what? I kept forgetting to farm this. Oh dear. Oh. Well, that's for a... Actually... Huh? Oi. Is this my first art card that I've evolved from an event? Because if it is, it's ironic how I worked on my least favorite. I don't even know how that's fucking possible, but it is, guys. Holy ever living shit, is it possible? Oh, how much memory it took 64 though. The next card I've been wanting to evolve that I forget. It needed pudding. Oh no. Oh, hold on, because it must have been this one. Yeah, I was about to say I would have substituted the pudding for Victor any day, but it was this card that I was working towards first. Okay, I'm still waiting. No. Ugh. I am never. No, there is another event. I forgot about it completely, and the odds of me getting them are really low. I could spend one ticket just because I have 111. Actually, no. Because in another event that actually does have redeem, it's always 144, so okay. Dude, I could, with the tickets that I have, I could probably get both, maybe, if not both one, but there's no redeem, and it's not Victor or Luisian, so it's like, I'm not even gonna bother. Since it's Monday, let's see if I have any of these. Of course I don't. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I realized going for the other art cards is gonna cost more than I need. And it's like, I'd rather just save my diamonds for something else. Hopefully, I don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I think I got everything from Romantic Holiday. And I guess I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye-bye. I'll end up with these two crystals here. Actually, maybe I might just buy the $3.99 thing now. I have to ask my dad though. Because you do get 2 free of these, and I know it's a week redeem, but yeah, I might do that. So I'll see you next time, my friends.